Welcome to the Retirement with and On Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Lawson, and this show is all about helping you not just reach retirement, but truly thrive in it. You've put in the work, now let's make sure you can enjoy every moment to the fullest. Today's episode is a little bit different. So we are going to temporarily take a step back from the financial implications of retirement and talk much more about the regrets of the dying in this case. So we're going to talk about the top 5 regrets of the dying. And Bronnie Ware, who is a palliative care nurse, as many of you have probably been exposed through multiple outlets to this book, wrote a book on her experience working with patients during the last stage of their life. And so during those weeks that she spent with them, she started to pick up on some of the most common regrets that the dying experience. And why I think this is pertinent to you all is because that initial transition into retirement can create the newfound space and time to consciously start to avoid or be more intentional about trying to avoid these regrets of the dying. So we'll go through some of these and then talk about potential examples for each. And my hope is that, again, this for folks that are recently retired or getting ready to retire, they will use this information to live more intentionally so that later in life they can avoid having some of these common regrets that the dying experience. So the first one, and this was the most common regret of all, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Most people had not honored even a half of their dreams and had to die knowing that it was due to choices they had made or not made. When I think about this, I think about how many of us, were with the same employer for many years, and maybe it was difficult to make a change during our working years because we needed the income, we had young kids. So it's very easy to perhaps put dreams on hold when we're having to earn income to support a family. So that initial retirement transition can really allow you to get more in touch with these dreams and have less of an excuse for pursuing them. So the way I kind of thought about it was live where you want, with who you want, how you want, would be a way to go about addressing this regret. So while we're working and raising a family, our freedom to go and live here, there, and suddenly move when our kids in schools is very, very challenging to say the least. But as a retiree, your opportunity to uproot and go and live somewhere that you've always dreamed of is very possible and perhaps very realistic. And would be something that, if that's been a dream of yours to go live in the mountains or live at the coast or live in a big urban area, that's something that you could explore. It doesn't have to be a permanent choice. You don't necessarily have to go and stake roots and buy a property there, but you could, hypothetically, for a period of time, go and rent in a big metropolitan area just to see what it's like to live in a city, or the same thing at the coast. Go and rent somewhere for a period of time just to see what that's like. And if you do happen to enjoy it and do realize that's being true to yourself, then maybe at that point it makes sense to go and purchase a property. But that was the most common regret of all, is not living a life true to oneself. Second was, I wish I hadn't worked so hard Well, thankfully for most of you, that phase of your life is hopefully soon to be behind you. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a regret any longer. But it's worth for those who our identity is oftentimes tied up in our work and we enjoy working. It's worth just being aware that sometimes working very hard and long hours can take away from more meaningful aspects of life that we might look back on later and regret having deprived ourselves of. So hopefully this transition to retirement for you is one that allows you not to have this regret because work's now hopefully a part of your past, at least for the most part. Third, I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. This is a difficult one for even those that maybe like myself that aren't close to retirement. You have family or friends that have different political views, perhaps, or different ways of raising children, or just different views on life in general, and you want to maintain the peace as much as possible to make future gatherings with family and friends much less awkward. So this is one that I can certainly empathize with, but as we get older, as my grandma likes to remind me, you kind of lose your filter and sense of giving a you know what. And so hopefully as time goes on, many of us have the courage to express our feelings to help others either grow themselves or at least kind of remove ourselves from potentially toxic relationships. The final two, and this one I believe applies directly to retirees, especially those that worked long hours during the course of their career. I wish I'd had stayed in touch with my friends. So this transition into retirement provides the ripest of opportunities to act on this and make sure this regret is avoided as much as possible. There's more ways than ever nowadays to stay engaged with friends despite potential geographical separation. I mean, think Zoom, you've even got kind of FaceTime on the iPhone, you've got Facebook. There's more ways than ever to maintain a relationship with someone who's not in the same city or town. So that's one that I hope that you all will take seriously, because it is one that came up a lot during Bronnie Ware's research on regret for the dying, and one with your newfound time that retirement provides. Hopefully that'll allow you to reconnect with old friends and even double down on spending time with current friends. Lastly, I wish that I had let myself be happier. This is a surprisingly common one. Many did not realize until the end that happiness is a choice. The so-called comfort of familiarity overflowed into their emotions as well as their physical lives. Fear of change had them pretending to others and to themselves that they were content. So just allowing yourself to be happier and make happiness a conscious choice every day in retirement is one that hopefully now that you're not, or soon not having to go and work at your job and not having to report to someone else, you can wake up with newfound freedom, choosing happiness each and every day. So I like the quote that this article closes with: life is a choice. It is your life. Choose consciously, choose wisely, choose honestly, choose happiness. That's it for today's episode. I hope my bringing up the top 5 regrets of the dying just allows you to revisit what many folks look back on at the end of their life and regret, and allows you to live more intentionally and more on purpose. Until next time, continue living with purpose, and I'll look forward to connecting again soon. Thanks for tuning in to the Retirement with and On Purpose podcast. I hope you're walking away with new ideas and a fresh perspective on how to make the most of your retirement journey. And remember, retirement isn't the end. It's your time to live with purpose. Until next time, I'm Trevor Lawson. Here's to a fulfilling and thriving retirement.